This session is designed to be working with students who have been set a question, whether that's from an outside organisation wanting some research done, or whether you've had a question set for the whole group. The objectives are to consider and unpack the question set, identify and discuss the terms of reference, have a go at writing a research question, because although it says setting the question set, very often what is given is not a research question if it's come from an external organisation, but is more a topic area or an area for consideration. It may not always be possible, it may not always be ethical to do exactly what's been asked, but looking at what's been asked and being able to turn that, operationalise it and turn it into something which is achievable by the students. The other key thing that I'm always looking for students to do is to identify the underlying theories and approaches to take. Very often students jump straight in with the practicalities of the research, thinking about the basic questions, but not really thinking about the underlying, whether they're social theories that underpin some of the items that they may be asked to do. So for instance, a few years ago, my students were asked to do a project on CCTV cameras by the police authority, and they very much focused on the number of cameras, those sorts of things, without beginning to really think about the importance of things like privacy and what impact that might have. So this is designed to make them think about that. And then, as always, using this as an opportunity to get students to do some really good searching on the internet or using library resources or portals that you may have in your institutions. If you've been set a question or whatever, and put it in there, and it's basically task orientated, with either starting off individually and then maybe moving into research groups if they're working in groups, is looking at that. So looking at the questions and really getting them to think about the terms of reference set by the organisation. Why would that organisation, or why has that question been set? What are the implications of the issue? What are the implications for the wider community? And what are the theories that relate to that? And you may have to go around and do some supporting items with that. And then I try and direct them back to previous lectures on writing research questions, the 4 key elements, and thinking about how writing a question for themselves, and then whether or not they've included it and that question does all of the points listed there. Finally then, I think about get them to think about quantitative and qualitative research, and having identified what it is they're supposed to be doing, looking to see which method would come across, and then going off and trying to find some information. I am able to link this to an assignment where they have a seminar task where the research groups themselves do a seminar activity where they have to review at least 2 pieces of published information which relates to their research question, and each of the participants has to review information or a source which is different to the rest of the participants. So they work individually, but they just have to check with each other that nobody's using the same document, and then that way it's a research group. If there are 3 of them in the group, they end up with at least 6 appropriate research documents, prior research, theory, context, which they can begin to think about the themes and issues that they've got. And that's it.